Hi guys, and thanks for coming back to Comic Book Lounge. Today we're reading and reviewing The Absolute Batman, issue 19. If you've been keeping up with this, you know the stakes have never been higher. Coming off the insane two-part Absolute Poison Ivy fiasco, where they dropped the bombshell that Martha Wayne is tied to the Court of Owls, Harley Quinn and the Harleys have joined MI6 Pennyworth in helping out Batman. Just as Bruce has officially cut all ties with his family and friends, he's going full rogue, operating completely alone. The real question today is, does this absolute Scarecrow live up to this massive hype? Let's take a look and find out. We're 1,500 miles outside of Gotham, in farmland. We see a large field being harvested by a combine and tractor. Out of the field steps a humming Scarecrow. As the surprised tractor driver yells, "What the?" and stops the tractor dead in its tracks. Both drivers come stomping towards Scarecrow, yelling, "Hey, you! What the hell are you doing?" Scarecrow, "Who, me? Oh, I was just going for a walk," as we see a close-up of Scarecrow's bare feet. Vern, "Holy, Buck, look at his face." Buck, "Pfft, it's a mask, Vern. Guy probably got it off a party store off Central, right? Freak." Scarecrow, "Oh, you got me. The party store in Central. How'd you guess?" "Gentlemen, come now. We're all friends here, am I right? Heck, you guys have been friends for more than, 30 years? And Buck, that's right. And that's despite the fact that Vern here has been sleeping with your wife, Luann." Buck yells, "What? How do you know my wife's name? And what are you talking about?" as Scarecrow blows smoke right into his face. The question here is the smoke the fear toxin? And he coughs. Vern, "Me and Luann? What is this? One of the internet pranks?" Vern continues, "Well, you take your cheap mask and your dirty feet," and as Buck hears his phone ding and goes to look, and shocked comes over his face as Vern asks, "Buck, what is it?" It's you, sneaking out my bedroom window with a giant tube of, oh my God, you piece of," as Buck punches Vern straight in his face. Vern starts pleading, "It didn't mean anything, I swear. Buck, please, brother." Scarecrow starts walking away as crows start flying into the air, and we see a crop duster flying above them. Buck gets into the combine as we watch as he runs over Vern. As the blood shoots out, Scarecrow smiles and says, "Come to think of it, maybe this isn't a mask." Buck comes storming out and says, "How's that feel, you piece of..." As he stops and looks at what he's done, we see the puddle of blood and guts, and he starts to feel regret and shocked by the scene. Buck starts to plead to Scarecrow, "Hey, mister, maybe we can still scoop him up? You call an ambulance, okay?" As we see more crows flying around a plane the pilot cannot see and starts to lose control. Scarecrow responds, "How about a plane?" as the plane crashes into the combine, and Scarecrow walks away humming. We cut back to Gotham. Pennyworth is narrating. "In just the last couple weeks, this kid has shifted into an entirely new gear. I came back from MI6 to find him driven like never before. No friends, no distractions, nothing but Batman." We see a high-tech Formula One style Batmobile crashing through a billboard, being chased by Gotham police. The police are forcing Batman down a city street towards a police blockade as Pennyworth yells, "Kid, they're 20 cars deep, no exit routes. Why aren't you slowing down?" We see a police officer aiming his gun, asking the same question. Why isn't he slowing down? A close-up of Batman as he says, "Because I'm speeding up," as we see the Batmobile charging toward the police blockade, causing officers to scatter and run. Pennyworth yelling, "Batman, you're going to crash!" as the Batmobile vaults over the police blockade, flipping, rotating in mid-air, and land upside down. As a police officer overcomes, yells, "It's over, boys. He's flipped onto the roof. Get him out and cuff him." He stops and says, "Wait, sir, it appears the back is becoming the front?" Batman, operating the controls of the vehicle, reconfigures and shifts its orientation. Pennyworth overcomes. "Hey, what do you call that thing, kid? How about the bat gimbal or the gyroscope dev or bat gyro?" Batman cuts him off. "No name." Harley, watching the same screen, says, "That thing is nasty. We should call it the Bat Nasty." Batman, "That's the hardest no in the history of no's. No." The Batmobile is seen speeding away from the police cruisers and turns into a really narrow alleyway. We actually see the Batmobile drive on the side of the building itself down the alley. Officers on the comms go, "Get the motorcycle unit on him. We'll trap him in the alley." Pennyworth continues narrating, I can't say I'm not impressed by what he has become, but it does scare me. The strategy can lead a man into dark places where he loses himself. Batman comes out the other end, and we see the Harleys there as one of them yells, break it down, 30 seconds, as see a group of them jump out of a van in sewers working rapidly to dismantle the Batmobile. One of the Harleys yells at Batman, hurry up, man, get out of the Bat Nasty, as Batman responds, stop calling it that. As they finish loading up the van, they yell at Bruce, we're out, your clothes are in the shopping cart. As Bruce covers up his costume and transforms himself into a homeless man pushing a shopping cart, as the police motorcycle unit shows up and keeps going because there's nothing to see there. Now it's daytime. Bruce is leaving work. As he passes by an alley, we see someone yell, psst, hey, over here. As Bruce stops and looks to see, it's Wayland. He's looking more human, or more like the original Killer Croc, as he says, it's me, Bruce. Bruce runs to him, hugs him, as Wayland then asks, what's the plan to take down the people that did this to the city? Bruce's answer, we're not going after anything. I'm doing this myself. Wayland literally grabs him, reminds Bruce that it's already too late. They're all in it now. But Bruce, he just brushes him off as Wayland screams, don't do this, Bruce, as Bruce walks away from Wayland. Back to Bruce's past. We're at the police precinct. Wayland is coming to visit a jailed Bruce. We see him behind thick glass. His face is heavily bandaged. Wayland, shocked, asks, Carmine Falcone did this to you, Bruce. He responds, yes. As Wayland says, Harvey is digging for legal loopholes. Ozzy is working on the back channels. Eddie's investigating all the angles. Wayland tells him Falcone is blocking him from selling the gym to raise fast cash. Bruce stops him and says, don't sell the gym. This is our win. One of us wins, we all win. Crime Alley for life. No one can change that. This is a reference to Absolute Batman 14, where Wayland Jones was supposed to throw a high-stakes fight, but instead of letting Falcone dictate the outcome, Wayland, Bruce, and Selina secretly pool every resource they had and bet it all on Wayland. Wayland pulls through the fight. An angry Falcone lost millions and felt like he was robbed. He called the cops that were on his payroll to have Bruce and Selina arrested. Bruce was caught while Selina went into hiding. We then see Bruce being released, Gordon explaining he came to pay Bruce's bail, but notes that others have already taken care of it. As Bruce spots a familiar red car, and Gordon warns Bruce, do not engage with the person in that car. Bruce walks up to the car and realizes it's Falcone, the one who paid his bail, and says, I know it wasn't just you that took my money. It was her too, your little sweetheart, Selina. Falcone presents Bruce with an ultimatum. Either Bruce or Selina must work off the debt they owe him, as we see Bruce get into the car and drive away with Falcone. Batman meets up with Pennyworth as he sees on the screen a montage of news footage featuring Gotham's royalty, Jack Grimm VI, making public appearances, giving grants, and delivering a speech about unity. As he says, him? He's everywhere all of a sudden. Pennyworth, it's how he operates. He's laying groundwork for what, though? Nothing good. We'll need to stay vigilant. Batman turns to Harley and says, what's all this? Harley shows Batman a new device she created, an encrypted distress beacon that allows people to call Batman directly. She jokes that it's not as if people can just call him on the phone. All of a sudden, Batman gets a call from Jim Gordon and goes to leave. Just a reminder here, Jim figured out who Bruce is, Batman, and is dating Martha Wayne, Bruce's mom, who used to be a member of the Court of Owls and hasn't been seen since she contacted them in the last issue. Jim Gordon arrives on the dark rooftop, lighting a cigarette, where he gets startled and whips out his revolver and shouts, who's there? As we see a close-up of Batman as he says, I am. Gordon starts to comment how surprisingly fast and quiet Batman is for his size, as Batman cuts him off and says, Mr. Gordon, on the phone, you sound upset, scared. Gordon struggles to articulate what he needs to say, starts speaking, look, over the last few weeks, since your mother left, I've been doing some digging. It started with questions about the past, but what I found changes everything. Gordon reveals he's been wrestling with this decision to share this intelligence with Batman. He says, not just the past, but the present too, and all of it leads right here, son, to this moment, to you. Batman cuts him off. Maybe you just show me. Gordon, a little confused, says, show you what? Oh, right, the files. You just have to prepare yourself, okay? They're All of a sudden, we hear a crow that startles Gordon, and he says, "Did you hear that?" And goes, "Oh, this was a mistake." All of a sudden, he takes out his cigarette and lights the file on fire. As we hear another crow. Startled again, his arm jacket is on fire as Batman yells, "Look out, your arm!" He passes the fire out as we see some of the files falling to the floor. And again, another crow appears. Gordon magically says, I'm afraid it's too late for that. Just promise me you'll burn those files." Batman's watching the files burning on the ground. All of a sudden, Gordon's surrounded by a swarm of crows. I'm going to just say we can assume that the Scarecrow's fear toxin is what's playing with Gordon's mind and where these crows are coming from, since Batman isn't reacting or helping Gordon at all. Gordon says, "Burn them, son, please." "No, if you won't burn them, I'll do it myself," as a swarm of birds attack him, forcing him to flee. Batman's distracted by the files, picks up a burnt page. His eyes narrow in confusion as he looks at a scrap of paper that survived and says, "What in the children? Zoo? Manipulated?" Batman yells, "This can't be. Gordon, what is this crap?" As another crow appears, Gordon walking toward the edge of the rooftop, he says, "I'm sorry, Bruce, for everything, but most of all, for what you're about to find out." And he jumps. Batman screams, "No!" As Gordon falls, Batman grabs his cape talon, and for a split second, you think he's got him. You see the line whip catching the back of Gordon's jacket. Batman pulls back, expecting the weight of his friend, but the line comes up empty. He looks down, and the reality hits hard. Gordon is gone. He's dead. Hit the pavement. But the nightmare is just beginning. As the crowds look up, eyes locked at the dark night as they start yelling, "Batman! He killed him!" Batman is still on the rooftop. We see the apartment buildings surrounding the rooftop and Gotham citizens all watching them through various windows, pointing at him. In one heartbeat, Gotham's protector has just become the most wanted fugitive in Gotham. One of the onlookers is lighting a cigarette. We see it's Scarecrow, who watched the whole thing. He holds a cigarette and waves at the Batman. A somber Batman, back in the base of operations, sitting on the floor being consoled by Pennyworth, says, "I had him. For that 1 second, I had him. I did." Pennyworth, "It's not your fault, kid." We cut to the hospital. We see Barbara Gordon running in, yelling, "Tell me he's okay." And then we cut to a breaking news broadcast from Mayor Hill as he says, "Thank you, fellow Gotham Knights. I come to you with tragic news. Former Mayor Jim Gordon is dead." As we see the banner at the bottom says, "Batman murders former Mayor James Gordon. News alert." As the mayor recounts stories about James Gordon, an older military-looking man comes right on stage and interrupts him and says, "That's enough." This is the first time we see Absolute Universe's Slade Wilson, grizzly-looking old man, worn-torn. He introduces himself. "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Slade Wilson. Now, you don't know me, but I know about you, about the people of the city, is that you're tough, you're unafraid, because Gotham, it tests you more perhaps than any other city on earth." We cut to a grim scene backstage. We see a disturbing transformation of Slade. He's missing his nose and the ear and parts of his legs, with deep scarring covering his body. To mask his horrific wound where his lower jaw should be, he meticulously applies a fake mustache and beard. We cut back to stage where he finally reveals the true purpose behind the rival. As we can see the Robin symbol on the podium as he continues. "For too long, though, you haven't had real help. Today, that changes. No more darkness, no more creatures of the night terrorizing your streets. From now on, let Gotham's symbol be a messenger of morning. With that, I present to you the Robin program." Slade continues. "Funded by Gotham's own founding son, Jack Grimm V, Mr. Grimm sustained an extraordinary support for Gotham's youth, especially its least fortunate children. He has sheltered, mentored, and guided countless numbers of challenged young men and women over the years." We now cut to a scene of Robin's training, sparring, combat exercises. Some of the young trainees practice shooting their firearms while Slade Wilson watches in the background. He continues. "He takes the misunderstood, the wards of the state, the fallen through the city's many cracks, and helps them find their way. The ones who've turned to crime. Today, these young men and women are ready to give back. Today, these young men and women are ready to give their all." As we see Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown, Jason Todd, Duke Thomas, all signing a document. Slade continues, guided by an exceptional leader, orphaned at an early age and raised by Mr. Grimm himself, this team will be Gotham's new totem, as the last signature is revealed to be Dick Grayson. I've had the honor of training them, and they are more than ready. As we cut back to the past, we see the group of Robins in jumpsuits as Dick Grayson asks, "We don't understand, General Wilson. The order said to suit up for duty, but we already did." Slade responds, "That's because those aren't your suits, Captain Grayson. These are." The group reacts with a surprise and awe at the sight of what Slade has revealed to them. As they say, "Whoa." Slade Wilson finishes delivering his impassioned speech at the podium, declaring, "Together, we will end the long dark night of fear and terror. We will bring back the light. But make no mistake, it will be a fight, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe the biggest fight in the history of the city. And it all starts right now." To be continued. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe, leave me a comment or a like, and I'll see you next time.